Hello and welcome. This time around, it is time to solve problems. Like we said in the previous class, we have learned the rules that we are going to use in solving these problems. So it's time to apply them. The problems we'll be solving now are JAMB or UTME questions, past questions. So you can send in your questions from WAEC, any other exam. Send them on this topic, and then we'll solve them together. So let's cut to the chase. Looking at the problem, you will see two lines, and there is an indication here that these lines are parallel, and we are looking for angle x. Now, before we solve some problems on this line geometry, sometimes we will need to modify our question. We need to make some modifications to the problem, so that it's not like we are changing the question, but we will modify it so that we'll see it. The modification we apply on the question will help us to see some facts that are not so obvious, that we are hidden in the question. So we need to make some modifications. We have parallel lines, but these parallel lines are not connected. Both of them are not connected by a single straight line. That's the issue here. There is no single straight line that connects these two parallel lines. So once we see parallel lines that are not connected by a single straight line, there is no transversal here. What we will do is to find a way to connect these parallel lines using a transversal. So we try to connect them so that we'll be able to see the alternate angles, the corresponding angles, and so on and so forth. So how do we connect them? We make a little modification. And what is that modification? Look at it. We can decide to create a third parallel line in between these lines. We can decide to introduce another line here that will be parallel to these two. Introduce a third line. Someone else can decide that a way to connect them will be to extend maybe this line, so that this line will have to be a straight line cutting down and cutting this particular second line. Or somebody can decide to extend this one and cut this one. Any modification you do, so long as at the end of the day this modification will help you join or connect these two lines, then you have no issue. You get the answer. Any modification you do, you arrive at the same answer. So I don't know, but let's proceed with one of the modifications I suggested. For instance, let's extend this line downwards. So you can see that I'm using a different line to show. This red line was not part of the question. I'm the one that introduced it, but I'm making sure that it is a straight line from this guy that cuts our parallel line. Once I have cut it, then this line is now a transversal, and then as a transversal, you will now see that it will form an angle here. So an angle will be formed here, and then this is also an angle. So at the end of the day, if I call this point A, and call this point B, and call this point C, you can see that I have actually formed a triangle here. Triangle ABC, and formed a triangle, and I can easily analyze this triangle. How do I get the values of the angles there? Then, if I call this angle Y and call this angle Z, once I find the value of angle Y and angle Z, I can easily find my X. So how do I find my angle Y? I can say that here is the solution. So I can say that Y is equal to 55 degrees. Why did I say that angle Y is 55 degrees? You remember alternate angles when we about parallel line. Angle 55 and angle Y are alternate angles. So Y is equal to 55 degrees. The reason is alternate angles. Then I can find angle Z. How do I find angle Z? I will say that you can see that Z started from here and ended here. But previously, we have an angle from here to here that was given to us as 260. And this is a straight line. So on top of that straight line, from here, is angle 180 degrees, angle on a straight line. But the total angle before is 260. So if I cut off 180 from 260, what is left will be my angle C, right? So I can say that Z is equal to 260 degrees minus 180 degrees. This was given to us, right? And then when I have 260 minus 180, which will give us what? Z is 80 degrees. Right? And then the next is to find Z, angle X. How do we find X? We already know that this is a triangle, so we can say that Y plus Z plus X is equal to 180 degrees. The reason is that they are sum of angles in a triangle. Sum of angles in a triangle. We already have the value of Y, which is 55, plus Z, which is 80, plus X is equal to 180. And so X is going to be 180 minus 135. So X is equal to 45 degrees. So our answer is option C. Right? Now, like I told you, this is just one of the ways to solve this. Someone can decide to use another method and it will still be fine. Right? So let's solve example. Here is for example 2. We have that in this diagram, FG, that is, this is line FG, from here to here is FG, is parallel to AM. They are indicated by arrows to show that they are parallel. So we are looking for the value of X. So again, we have a set of parallel lines, but then they are not connected by any single line. So there is no transversal here. So what we do to solve the problem? We try to look for a transversal. How do you try to make that transversal? We can decide to extend this particular line, HK. We can decide to extend it so that it will get to F. So if we extend this line, it will get to F as a straight line, and then it will form an angle with FG. So whichever angle it forms here will be equal to the angle it forms here with AM. So if here is 105, it means that here is going to be 105. So we can call this angle Y, and then we'll say that Y is equal to 105, and the reason is because they are corresponding angles. So as it forms angle Y, we can go ahead and equally extend this line here so that an angle will form here, which we can call angle Z, for instance. We can call it angle Z. Okay, now angle Z and angle Y are corresponding angles. So we can say that Z is equal to Y. The reason is corresponding angles. Then we know that Z plus 105 is 180 degrees. It means that Y plus 105 is 180 degrees. So we can say Z plus 105 equal to 180 degrees. The reason is angle on a straight line. So some of angles on a straight line will give you 180 degrees. So this is 180 degrees. So we can use that and say that therefore Z is equal to 180 minus 105, and that will give us what? 75 degrees. That's angle Z. Then since Z is equal to Y, so we can say that Y is equal to 75 degrees. Then we have Y, we have 20 here. Then we can find X. Remember, angle X is an exterior angle to these two angles. So we can say X is equal to y plus 20. The reason is exterior angle of a triangle. So you can say that x is now equal to y, which is 75 plus 20. So angle x is equal to 95 degrees. So let's look for that in option. So our answer is option B. That was interesting, right? We'll still solve another example. Okay, consider this for example 3. So let's go ahead and solve our situation. We have that we are looking for x again in this diagram. See our parallel lines, and again, luckily for us, these parallel lines have been connected by a transversal. You see this line, a transversal, and then we cut the two parallel lines. So if we can find the value of any angle here, then that angle will correspond to angle x. So we have no much problem here. What do we do? First of all, we have this angle and we have 40 here. Let's go ahead and find the angle here. So let's indicate that an angle is supposed to be here, which we can call angle y, and then an angle is supposed to be here, which we call angle z. So let's find the value of y and angle z, and then our problem will be solved. How do we find that? We say that 100 will be equal to, okay, let's use our normal marker. 100 is equal to 40 plus y, and the reason is because 40 and y are interior angles to this guy. 100 is exterior angle to them, so we can say exterior angles of a triangle. So when we subtract, we have that y is equal to 100 minus 40, and that is 60 degrees. So y is 60 degrees. So then we know that y plus z is equal to 180 degrees. The reason is because that is a straight line. So we say angle on a straight line. Angles on a straight line. And since we have y, we now say that z is equal to 180 minus 60. And 180 minus 60 should give us what? 120 degrees, right? So z is 120 degrees. And then we say that z is equal to x. Z and x are equal because they are corresponding angles. Angle z and angle x are corresponding. So with that, we say that therefore x is 120 degrees. So our answer to the question is option A. Right? That was very simple. Let's solve example 4. Here is for example 4. Then in the question we are told that line PQ is parallel to line ST. That's ST, and then line RS, that's RS, this is R. RS is parallel to line UV. You can see the double arrows indicating that these two are parallel, single arrows indicating that these two are parallel. Okay, so and then we are given the values of some other angles, 35 and 65, and we are told to find STD. So ST and D. So it means that the angle we are looking for is located here, right? This is angle. We can call it X, for instance. Then let's go ahead and apply the principle we have always used. We have two parallel lines, for instance, and they are not connected by a single line. There is no transversal. So what do we do first? We go ahead and transverse them, which means we extend this line to make a transversal, right? So by this extension, a straight line has transversed these two lines, and then we now have a new angle here, which we can call angle Y, right? So we have we have identified this angle Y. Now, what we need to do is find the value of this Y, and then from there, you can see that this angle Y has an alternate angle somewhere here, right? There's an alternate angle Y alternates here. So we can place that angle here. So we can call this angle C, right? So angle Y alternates with angle C. So if we can find Y, we take it to C. And since these two lines are parallel, then C will alternate with X and we'll find the value of X. So let's go ahead and do it already. So how do we find Y? Y and 35 are interior angles to an exterior angle 65, right? 65 is exterior angle to these two angles. So we go ahead and put that down. So we say that 65 degrees is equal to Y plus 35 degrees. The reason is that this is the exterior angle of a triangle, right? So from here we can find that Y is equal to 65 minus 35, and then Y is 30 degrees. Then this is the value of our angle Y, but that's not what we are looking for. So we take it to C. We say that Y is equal to C. They are alternate angles. So C is equal to 30 degrees. But Z and X are equally alternate angles because these two lines are parallel and they are transversed by this single line. So they are alternate angles. So we can go ahead and say, therefore, X is equal to Z because they are alternate angles, which implies that X is equal to 30 degrees. So we look for that in the option. Our answer is option A. One more example, and then we'll end the examples. Then we'll give assignment. Make sure you try and solve all those assignment problems. You can browse them. You can browse for the questions if you don't have a UTME past question, but make sure you find the questions and solve them. So we are going to give you assignment, but let's solve one more example before we get to the assignments. Okay, now for example 5, we have that in this one we have that QR, line QR is parallel to line TU, right? And then we have an 80 here and the angle 95 here. We are told to find SUT. That's okay, here is S, right? So SUT. Sorry, I forgot to put that in. So SUT. Okay, so we are told to find angle SUT, which is this X. That's what we are looking for. So how do we do that? Again, we are faced with situations where we have two parallel lines. There is no common transversal. Now we can decide to extend this line and extend this and make a transversal. Although this it will be outside the capacity of this board, so we'll not be able to capture it. But then it's a possibility, and someone can equally decide to extend this and make them meet somewhere here, so that this line will serve as a transversal, and then we'll make them meet somewhere here, and we'll see our transversal. But then that will be equally good. But then I would like to use another method where I'll have to let me introduce a third parallel line, a third line in between these two. This line is, I will introduce this line to parallel to these two lines. So these two lines are parallel. So if I draw a line that is parallel to any of them, it will be parallel to the next one. So this my line is parallel to this and parallel to this. So with that in mind, I will know that whatever happens here will happen here, and whatever happens here will happen here. So with that already, I will now go ahead and solve. So since I have 80 degrees on top here, it means that from here to here is 80 degrees. So, and I can call that angle Y, for instance, 80 degrees. Y, the one that is just from here to this place. Then I'll now have to find the remaining one that is inside, which I can call angle C. Okay, so I can say that to find angle C, I'll say that C is equal to 95 minus 80 degrees. So C is equal to 95 minus 80 will give us 15 degrees, right? So Z is 15 degrees. Then with this guy, you can see that Z is alternate X. So Z and X are alternate angles. So I'll go say that Z is equal to X. The reason is alternate angles. Therefore, X is equal to 15 degrees. So our answer is option A again. Okay, so that's the how far we can take in an example. Say 5 examples. I will give you assignments on this, about 5 of them too. So the solution to these assignments will be posted in the next video. So the next video that I will come to the solution to the assignments. You can go ahead and browse to find these questions if you don't have that class question paper. But make sure you solve them. Solve more. Now, in the process, if you encounter more problems, you can send it, write it on the comment section, the topics you would like us to treat more, and then anywhere you encounter problem, if there is anything you don't understand, before you comment on the comment section, then invite your friends, let people join the class. Anybody that you feel will need this class, anybody that wants to learn, that will write any maths exam, not just in Nigeria, anywhere you are, just invite them to join this page, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. So for them, let's take the assignment before we. So for the assignments, look for JAM to UTME pass questions. You can get them anywhere by UTME pass questions. But if you can't buy them at hard copies, you can browse for these questions online. UTME pass questions. 2013 is a 25. 2008 is a 25, 1993 is a 30, 1991 is 7, and then 1950 is 1. Find these questions, attempt them, solve them on your own, and then before you watch the next video, please don't watch this video until you attempt these questions. In that next video, I will now provide a solution to these questions. So for them, just try it and then subscribe, and then invite your friends to like this video. We have a physics textbook. Try to get our physics textbook. If you are writing down and any physics exam, make sure you get that. Then we'll have physics series of this, where we did physics, and then chemistry. So the chemistry series of this and the physics series of this will soon be out. So get ready to learn and prepare for your exams. Score for close to 400, above 300 in your exam when you subscribe. So just get ready and then get your hands dirty with assignments. Then with time, you will be able to enjoy everything. So goodbye for now, and see you.